Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Antara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktavinda ki Anantikoti Vaishnavanda ki Jai Prabhupada ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today reading from chapter 5, text 15, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. This is Bhagavad Gita as it is, commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So I'll go through the Sanskrit, then translation and purport. So text number 15. Nandete kachit papam nacheva sukritam vibhu ajanabitam jnananam tene muyanti janavartha. Nandet kachit papam nacheva sukritam vibhu ajanabitam jnanam tene muyanti Jantava nandet kachitet papam nacheva sukritim vibhu ajana vitam jnanam tena muyanti jani jantava. So, Srila Prabhupada translation. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The Sanskrit word Vibhu means the Supreme Lord who is full in unlimited knowledge, riches, strength, fame, beauty, renunciation. He is always satisfied in himself, undisturbed by sinful or pious activities. He does not create a particular situation for any living entity, but the living entity, bewildered by ignorance, desires to be put into certain conditions of life, and thereby his chain of action and reaction begins. A living entity is by superior nature full of knowledge. Nevertheless, he is prone to be influenced by ignorance due to his limited power. Lord is omnipotent, but the living entity is not. Lord is Vibhu, omniscient, but the living entity is Anu, atomic. Because he is a living soul, he has a capacity to desire by his free will. Such desire is fulfilled only by the omnipotent Lord. And so when the living entity is bewildered in his desires, and the Lord allows him to fulfill those desires, the Lord is never responsible for the actions and reactions of the particular situation. Which may be desired. Being in a bewildered condition, therefore, the embodied soul identifies himself with a circumstantial material body and becomes subjected to the temporary miseries of happiness and of life. The Lord is constant companion of the living entity as Paramatma or Supersoul, and therefore he can understand desires of the individual soul as one can smell the flavor of a flower by being near it. Desire is a subtle form of conditioning for the living entity. The Lord fulfills his desire as he deserves. Man proposes and God disposes. The individual is not therefore omnipotent in fulfilling his desires. The Lord, however, can fulfill all desires, and the Lord, being neutral to everyone, does not interfere with the desires of the minute independent living entities. However, when one desires Krishna, the Lord takes special care and encourages one to desire in such a way that one can attain to him and be eternally happy. The Vedic hymns therefore declare, Esa yu eva sadhu karma karyanti tam yam ubayo lokayan umetet esu evashadu karma karyanti yad adoniyanti. The Lord engages a living entity in pious activities so that he may be elevated, and the Lord engages him in pious activities so that he may go to hell. Kaushika Upanishad 3.8. Ajno jantu ahimsayam atmano sukham dukkhiya ishvara prayato gayanchet swaga vitsvar abhiram evacha. The living entity is completely dependent in his desires and happiness. By the will of the Supreme, he can go to heaven or hell. He as a cloud is driven by the air. Therefore, the embodied soul, by his immoral desire to avoid Krishna consciousness, causes his own bewilderment. Consequently, although he is consciously eternal, blissful and cognizant, due to the littleness of his existence, he forgets his constitutional position of service to the Lord, and is thus entrapped by nescience. And under the spell of ignorance, the living entity claims that the Lord is responsible for his conditional existence. The Vedanta Sutra 2134 concludes, Vishvat Nigra na Akshat na Thi Dasya. Lord is neither hates nor likes anyone, although he appears to. So, Krishna is always looking at ways to bring the living entities Haribol. Yeah. Krishna is always looking at ways to bring everyone back to him. Examples of this can be given. Generally, people who are affected by the modes of nature, passion and ignorance, even the ones affected by goodness, sometimes because of not having the association of advanced devotees, they cannot get the proper understanding of who is Krishna. So even they mistake the Paramatma. They don't understand that the Paramatma is higher than the soul. They take the Atma and Paramatma to be one. This is a Mayavad understanding. But according to the proper Siddhanta or the Vaishnava understanding, the living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. He is the there's three energies. There's the spiritual energy, there's the energy of ignorance, which is fruitive activity, and then there is the Supreme Lord. Yeah, there's a living entity, nature, and material nature, and the fruitive ignorance. So when the living entity tries to enjoy independently of Krishna, then he gets affected by the three modes of nature. And from that, identification of the body comes in. And the body is temporary, is full of ignorance, and is full of misery. So, with that conditioned nature, the living entity feels that he is independent of Krishna. But even in a situation like that, Krishna is always looking at ways to bring all living entities back to him. And even though it could be that because of conditioned nature, our stubbornness is very strong. The problem is that we want to hold on to our independence. We want to have an enjoying mentality. We want to hold on to that. That's what keeps us conditioned. That's what Prabhupada says in the purport, that because of mind of independence, because the living entity is tiny, when he wants to enjoy independently, then he gets covered over. But as soon as the jiva turns to Krishna, then his true happiness comes in. Because Krishna being omnipotent, he also feels our pain. It's like the finger, the finger on the body. Once your finger gets affected, the body also feels the pain. So Krishna also feels our pain. But at the same time, he understands that what we have to go through is for our benefit. And There was a story of this, how, I think, Pramana Prabhu, he told us Sankirtan story one time, how he met this one man. This is when he had a business, everything was going nice. And Pramana Prabhu tried to give him a Bhagavad Gita, but he didn't take it then. But then all of a sudden, he lost his wife, son just left her body. And then soon after that, something happened to the son. And soon after that, the business fell off, the business collapsed. So this man, he was thinking, what's the point of living now? I lost everything I had. I lost my wife, I lost my son, I lost my business. So he was thinking of giving up his body. He went on the railway line, and you know where the trains come, right? He lay down for 2 hours, hoping that a train would come and run him over. And lying on those tracks is not very good because it's so dirty, you know. And his body was covered with so much dirt. And so then after 2 hours nothing happened, and he came out and he met Pramana Prabhu. He was doing books. And he told Pramana Prabhu, I met you many years back, 10 years, 15, 12 years back, I met you. This is when I had a business, I was married, I had a son, everything was going well. But all of a sudden, I lost everything. And I didn't know what's the use of living now? I've lost everything. So I was praying to God to take my life, hoping that the train would run over me. But then even that didn't happen. So then Pramana Prabhu gave me a free Bhagavad Gita. He said, Krishna sent you here he wants you to read the Bhagavad Gita. He took it. So that shows how merciful Krishna is, that the problem is, because we maintain material attachments, that makes it difficult for the mercy to come in. Because Krishna is already looking after us. Without His mercy, we can't digest our food. We can't function in the body properly. He says even without fire you cannot cook. Without sun you cannot function in the world. You live complete darkness. You can't live. So Krishna is already looking after us. But the more we learn to surrender to His instructions, then the less suffering we experience. Because the more we feel reciprocation from Him. And the other thing is, as you practice spiritual life, your body becomes spiritualized. So you feel the burden doesn't affect you, the external burden doesn't become so heavy. The karma gets wiped out. And you feel light as you practice spiritual life. So you don't feel, even you're living in the material world, you don't feel the stress and anxiety. But Krishna consciousness is a science, and you have to follow this science. It's like anything. If you want to be a doctor, you have to go through you have to go through college, learn the subject. You can't just read books and do it by yourself. So Krishna consciousness is also like that you have to go through a certain science. And by practicing that, then your connection to Krishna becomes strong. So in today's lecture, I heard Prabhupada was saying, to understand the absolute truth, to understand who is Krishna, by one's own effort, he cannot do it. That's why Krishna comes to this world to reveal Himself. And He comes, He gives Bhagavad Gita, then He sends His representatives, and then even that, even to approach Krishna through that, one has to come to mode of goodness. So, from mode of goodness, then one is like a springboard. Then you can come to pure goodness. So, the material world is like a prison house. So, some are in gold chains, some are in silver chains, some are in iron chains. And Krishna is always present in the material world through four means at all times. The holy name, Vaishnavas, the deity form, and the Mahaprasad. But to access that, to get the real connection, one has to serve those who are dear to Krishna. It's like to approach any rich man. They did a survey one time with rich people, and they found that rich people only reveal their life to 4 people. They won't reveal their lives to anyone. So same thing with Krishna. He owns everything. So how are you going to approach him directly? He doesn't, like a rich person, he doesn't need to reveal himself to you. He's got everything. So by pleasing someone who's someone dear to the rich person, maybe he'll reveal himself. The same thing with Krishna. You please his devotees, then Krishna will reveal himself to you. But we see like the unfortunate thing is in today's education in society, because it's affected by the Mayavad philosophy. The Mayavad philosophy, Prabhupada comments in his lecture in this Back to Godhead, how they equate the jiva and supersoul as one. But Lord Chaitanya, he actually defeated that philosophy. When he was young, as a baby, I was a student growing up, there was one pastime where Lord Chaitanya showed that it's not all one. And the example is given. Lord Chaitanya went to a place where there was broken pots, these clay pots, which they used to cook for the deities. And Lord Chaitanya was in that area, and he was arguing with his mother that his mother was saying, "Why are you in this dirty place? You're from a Brahman family, And so Lord Chaitanya gave the argument that if this is dirty, what's the difference between eating vegetables and this? It's all one. Eating the dirt from the ground and eating vegetables is all one. The Mother Sachi, she gave the argument to Lord Chaitanya, well, eating the earth will give you bad health. It's not nourishing. Whereas growing the vegetables from the earth is nourishing for the body. So from that point of view, there's one and difference. Achinta Bheda Tattva, oneness and difference. So so actually this this Mayavad philosophy is there for 2 purposes: is to bewilder the demons, and it comes in when one does not accept the proper siddhanta of having accepting Krishna for who he is. So there's two sides of it. So Prabhupada says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says, if one just worships Krishna but doesn't accept Guru, then he becomes sahaja. He'll take things cheaply. He's got no one to train him up to be in discipline. If someone just accepts Guru, not Krishna, then he'll become Mayavadi. So Prabhupada gave an example of that. One time he was walking somewhere with his disciples, some stairs or something, and Prabhupada threw one of he let go. He pushed one of his disciples down, let go of the hand of one of his disciples, and he pushed him a little. And then Prabhupada explained, this is what Mayavadis do. They take shelter of Guru sometimes, but then once they reach their goal of thinking that they understand who is Krishna, then they throw their Guru away. They don't accept the Guru anymore. So whereas in the line of Vaishnava philosophy, in the line of disciplic succession, we accept the line of self-realized teachers. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai. And there's a deep understanding to this issue actually. I read a lecture by Sri Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. He was explaining this point, how Karna, he was the eldest of the Pandavas, and he wanted to, Krishna took Karna on his chariot at some point, because he wasn't fighting, because of Bhishma was fighting the war, and there was some disagreement with Bhishma and Karna. So Krishna told Karna that you're the eldest of the Pandavas, why don't you help the Pandavas now? And Yudhishthira will make you the king. But because Karna was loyal to Duryodhana, he did not accept Krishna's advice. So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu in this BTC article he makes an important point. He says, even some people become devotees, they take to Krishna consciousness, but they hold the Karna mentality. The Karna mentality is, you're very strongly opinionated about your views. You don't want to let go of your views. Like Karna didn't want to let go of his views. So we are very strongly opinionated about our views, that we want things in our way. But in Krishna consciousness, you have to let of that. You have to let go of that. Because you have to learn to do how Krishna wants you to do things. And that you learn from devotees. So it's like, but it's, at the same time, it's not so easy to accept Krishna, because Prabhupada says in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, unless someone has done a lot of austerities in previous lives, then he can accept Krishna. And then the other one is, if you're lacking in knowledge of the soul, you're poor fond of knowledge, and if someone's lamenting, then it's hard to understand about the soul, because then the bodily attachment comes in. So this is why we have to learn this science from the devotees. Devotees will train us up properly in the line of sadhana bhakti. So sadhana bhakti helps us to have a good foundation in our spiritual life. And then through regular hearing and discussion with devotees, then the proper understanding will come in, how to come to the spiritual platform. So so Krishna consciousness is for those who are serious. If one is not serious, he'll find it difficult to stay on the path of Krishna consciousness. It's like Prabhupada gave the example. He said in his time in India, in Calcutta, in the university, they had a section in the university of people who are into serious studies on the on some subjects. But not many people used to go for that. They were more on like spiritual subjects. So Krishna consciousness is like that. It's like a postgraduate. But then the problem comes in when there's a quote by Prabhupada. He says, unless you know someone, how can you surrender to them? Isn't it? So, but the other side is also there. Lord Chaitanya is so merciful that he's giving Krishna Prem to everybody. He's saying, if you're not qualified, just come and take it. But even going to the high platform of coming to Bhava and then Prema, there's some qualification required. So this is why the devotees are there, to help us come to that platform. Otherwise, it'll take many births. If you do it on your own way, it'll take many births. I think the main difficulty is conditioned nature is there, that we are attached to opulence, attached to abilities in life. We have the strong attachment is there. The problem is we think that what we have learned throughout our life is the only way we can progress. But that's a difficult one, because what you may have learned may not be perfect. You learn something from someone who's got 4 defects. Tends to cheat, make mistakes, be illusion in perfect senses. So in Krishna consciousness, we're learning science from those who are perfect. So if we accept their approach, then we can become perfect. So Prabhupada gives the argument. He says, if you accept someone who's perfect, you'll become perfect. But if you accept a cheater, you become cheated. So Prabhupada also gave the argument. He said, people want to be cheated, so Krishna sends so many cheaters to cheat them. There was one boy in Russia, and he was in these, what they call it, concentration camps. And in concentration camps, these people give you a heavy time, right? They give you bad language, and so he didn't respond to any of that. He just kept quiet, And they were thinking there's something wrong with this boy. He's not responding to our agitation and like that. So they thought, we will just let him go. So he left. As he left, he met the devotees on the street chanting Hare Krishna. And in this way, he became a devotee. So from that example, we can see how Krishna feels our suffering. And if we are open just for his mercy, then he's ready to accept us. Only thing is, we have to have faith. Faith is very important. Prabhupada said, I have my plan, you have your plan, and Krishna has his plan. So, in order to become strong, we have to come to the Madhyamadikari platform, where we make distinctions. We worship Krishna, make friends with devotees, avoid the envious, and preach to the innocent. And from that platform, we can come to the highest platform, Uttamadikari, in time. But unless one comes to the Madhyamadikari platform, he'll be bewildered. So this is why Prabhupada created the temples. People come and take the training. This is like the training ground here, see. You're associating with devotees here. When you go back to Godhead, it's not like you, just you and Krishna. You'll be devotees. So you're getting association of devotees here. This is like the training ground. When you go back, you'll be there with devotees also. So the intelligent person will take to it very quickly. He won't. He'll take the instructions quickly, and he will rectify his mistakes, and in this way he'll become advanced very fast. For those who do it their way, it just take a longer time, because coming to Krishna consciousness is like joining a mafia. Once you join a mafia, you can't leave, isn't it? So once you get a taste of Krishna consciousness, it's not like you can just walk away from it, because you got the higher taste. So the faster you rectify your mistakes, the better it is for you. Because when you talk about the laws of nature, talk about whose nature? Nature has to be from someone. It's Krishna's laws. So laws of nature are very strict. If you put your hand in fire, you get burnt, whether it's a child or adult. So laws of nature are very strict. So God's laws are very strict as well. But unfortunately, in modern society, they make man-made laws, and they change God's laws. So we see there's so much disturbance in society now because of that. So if you follow Krishna's laws, then we are protected. We don't need to worry about the outside laws. And Krishna guarantees that he'll protect us. Any questions or comments?
They say the same thing. They say that only man's law, this civil law, all that, these are all man-made, and we must follow the rules of Quran and God's law.
No, but the thing is, with them it's like with them is either Quran or the sword. That's their approach, right? See, in Islam, the approach is like that. It's either Quran or the sword, right? If you don't accept Quran, we don't accept any other religions. Isn't it? It's very strict there. Is it? So that's the problem, see? And the other thing is, they don't have any concept of God being a person. In Jeva Dharma is explained how if you have that approach, good qualities don't come.
So it's not enough just having God's law. You need to have the right approaches.
You have to accept Krishna as a person. And then the good qualities will develop. Because in the Brahman, there is no reciprocation, it's just energy.
But how is that, how accepting God as a person makes a difference in implementing the law?
Yeah, it makes a difference because just seeing an energy, there's no reciprocation. It's like having a house by yourself with all the opulence, but there's no reciprocation. You're not reciprocating with anyone. You're by yourself. Someone gave you a nice house. The condition is you have to be by yourself. How long can you stay?
Okay, yeah, I understand.
But that's the problem, see?
The point I'm asking about is that what if, let's say there's a society and what is the guarantee that a society run by Vaishnavas and literature, that would be a good society?
Yeah, because Krishna is personally teaching by his example. Lord Chaitanya is teaching by his example. Teachings are there. I mean, do you see anything taught by Brahman, energy? Is there any teachings coming from energy? Everything's coming from a person. And the other thing is, they criticize the deity form of the Lord. They're not ready to accept that. So if you go against the deity form of the Lord, which is not different from the Lord, that's offense. In the Bhagavatam, that's given, right? That if someone considers a deity form as material, the Guru as a normal human being, and they don't accept who the devotees are as related to Krishna, they have a hellish mentality. The residents of hell. That verse is there in the Bhagavatam, is given like that. There's a quote by my Guru Maharaj. He says, Srila Bhakti Chandra Maharaj said in one of his quotes, he said, if you just accept the spiritual master as being part of intimacy with Krishna, all your problems are resolved. Once we see a spiritual master like a normal human being, then that's where the problem starts. If someone's not ready to accept what the parampara is, the self, like, huh? Yeah, but I'm saying, but how do they accept it? Like, proper. If you just accept the spiritual master like a normal human being, that's the third offense against the holy name. See, I'll give you an example. This is Shivananda Srinivasacharya. This is when he was preaching after he got Radharani's mercy in Vrindavan. He was preaching in Orissa. And there was one Muslim ruler who was against Vaishnavism at that time. And he told Srinivasacharya, you don't do this chanting on the streets. If you do that, I'll kill all of you. So Srinivasacharya didn't listen to him. He just carried on with the chanting, He carried on with the kirtan. And his Muslim ruler sent his army to kill the Vaishnavas. All of a sudden, Srinivasacharya started, Shamananda Pandit, yeah. He called the name of Radha and Krishna. He called their names. And all of a sudden, all these soldiers, fire was attacking them. And they all jumped into lakes. And the head of the army, the head person, he was bewildered. He thought, what happened here, He couldn't work it out. So that night he prayed to Allah. He did austerities, prayed to Allah. And in this story, he says Allah appeared to him and told him, Krishna is my confidential name and Lord Chaitanya is my most confidential name. And he told this person, he said, if you want to be delivered from your offense, you go and surrender to Shamananda Pandit. And then he became Shamananda Pandit, he became Chaitanya Das.
Where is that story?
It's in the story of the Acharyas. Yeah, Shamananda Pandit. Yeah, I read it in there. It's in the book, one of the books. I mean, I don't know the reference, but it's in the story. I think Shiva Maharaj quotes it also in his book, in his writings. Navaravaja Mahima, he quotes. But it just shows you from these stories how, because they have no respect for the deity form, and because they don't respect the Vaishnavas, and their whole thing is only one religion, but Krishna is not limited to one religion. He's for everyone. He's the father of all living entities. And Prabhupada gives an example. This lecture I heard, he was saying how gold is gold. Whether a Muslim has it, a Hindu has it, or a Christian has it. You can't say Hindu gold, Muslim gold, Christian gold is gold. So the thing is, if someone's got purity, you take that purity. So from that sense, religion is one. But and the other problem is with them, because they kill cows, heavy karma. Isn't it? The Lord Chaitanya discussed with the Chandkazi. He said, what's your religion you're following? It's like you're killing the mother and father. You go to hell for thousands of years. So that's the problem with them. Because they're not stopping cow killing. So, yeah. So, when there's too much unwanted progeny, then Krishna creates three things to get rid of the unwanted progeny. Because the purpose of the material world is for people to go back to Godhead. So when these things, unwanted progeny come in, they distract people from that line of going back to Godhead. It causes confusion. Like now the demons are ruling, they're causing so much confusion. So Krishna creates three things: wars, pestilence and famine. Pestilence and war. These things happen to get rid of the unwanted progeny. That's it. So, I'll give an example, like sometimes you can save certain people who open for mercy, but some people who are not open for mercy you can't save. It's like in the time of Bhaktisaraj Thakur, he sent some of his disciples to Germany. And when he was preaching there, I think the Second World War was going to happen. And out of all the people he preached there, one German person became a devotee. And he took sannyas. Disciple of Bhaktisaraj Thakur. He became one of the disciples. He opened for mercy. But people who are not open for mercy, you can't do anything. You can only try and give them what you have, and if they're not open for it, they have to learn the hard way. Like I know, like Bhakti Swami Damodar Maharaj, he was preaching in Iran at some point, I think. He went there. And when he was preaching there, I think he had to leave very quickly because they were trying to kill him. So that shows how they tried to kill him. Ajmir Maharaj was telling me, he went a few times. He escaped one or two times, but Atmi Nivedana Maharaj was telling me the story. How the third time he had to escape very fast. But at some point he had to escape out of the country. So that shows that, if you take Vaishnavas in a normal way, you don't see them as Krishna's intimate associates, and you don't respect spiritual master, and you take the deity form not in the proper way, it's a hellish mentality. So because they maintain that, then they suffer. Isn't it? That's what it comes down to. Because Krishna consciousness, you have to accept as it is. You have to go by the self-realized teachers. So this is why Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Prabhupada introduced the second initiation, right? Because even in the world now, there's many caste Brahmins. They think unless you take birth from a Brahmana family, you're not a Brahmana. Now to save these people from going to hell, Prabhupada and Bhaktivinoda Thakur introduced a second initiation. Because if you criticize Vaishnavas, you go to hell. See how strict the laws, the Shastra is very clear. You have to go by the Shastra. Very clear. So Krishna is giving the way. Those who accept it, they get freedom, but those who don't, they suffer more. Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada ki jai. Get ready for Gaura Aarti. Yeah? Can you sing?
No, not for me.
Huh?
I can't do that. I'm not prepared fully yet. I'm not fully prepared yet. I know, but it's just too difficult. When nobody there, maybe I'll try one day alone and then.
You will practice at home.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you come in dhoti one day. Practice with dhotis.
I will try.
Are you charging 16 now?
Huh?
How many rounds are you charging?
I haven't really started too much, but
Anyway, you have to learn from devotees how to do everything.
yeah, cool. Is it locked? None there. Now we go for it. Now we can give a go. You won't put your feet. I will move your feet inside.
Narasimha Aunty también. Kanjarina की है ना? श्री श्री राधा गोकुल की श्री राम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की श्री गौर निताय की श्रील प्रभुपाद की Hare Krishna. If everybody please can come forward. And this is the arti we're gonna sing, so if you would like to join me. Jaya